Well, in today's video, I don't know what I'm gonna actually talk about today. I'm just gonna start talking about different stuff today because I honestly don't know what subject matter is important enough to actually keep on subject. I know today's Star Wars Day, that's why you see a lot of Star Wars on TBS today. I know everybody's a Star Wars fan, even me, back in the day, before Episode 7, and honestly, I don't see why they need to make a day out of Star Wars. Even though back in the day, I was a huge Star Wars fan. I don't know why they actually need to dedicate a day for Star Wars. Because, honestly, for me, it's not that important. Even if I was a fan or not. Like, I don't need a day where it's just dedicated to one of the best franchises back in the day, not now, in my opinion. I don't know why they need to dedicate a day to Star Wars, but that's just my honest opinion. Because they dedicate a lot of different stuff to commemorate the day of a certain movie or something like that. So, for me, I think about the movie that just came out. I never seen it. It's La La Land. They even dedicated a day to that movie franchise, or just that movie in general. So I'm like thinking to myself, why do they need to make a day for certain movies or anything like that? Maybe it's because it's a phenomenon or something like that, or some kind of ultimate cult following is the correct term. But La La Land, in comparison to Star Wars, is not that significant. But I'm just speculating for myself personally. And honestly, why do they have to make a day for Star Wars too? But maybe because of the significance that it's made in history over the years. But that's about that's not that important, at least not in my opinion. I don't think they need to dedicate a day to certain stuff, especially Star Wars or La La Land. I think they need to dedicate more to, like, history, like Martin Luther King Day. I can understand that. And different stuff, but not Star Wars, like, or not La La Land for that matter. I don't know, even though Star Wars has a bigger history than La La Land, I don't know why they dedicated a day to that thing. Same goes for Star Wars, but every Star Wars fan might hate me, but that's just my honest opinion. At least in my book. But on a lighter note, on another subject I want to talk about for this video, for all those who celebrate, who are all Mexican, happy Cinco de Mayo, and I hope you guys have a good one. To all the Spaniards out there and Mexican people out there too. So, happy Cinco de Mayo for tomorrow. In that case, and honestly, normally, but ultimately, I don't know why people like Cinco de Mayo. I can understand for that significance of that kind of holiday, but for Star Wars, I don't know why. There's no importance to it. It's just a a money maker. It's not that crucial to say Star Wars it deserves a national holiday dedicated to that fandom. But Cinco de Mayo I can understand because of the freedom that they got. So I can understand the significance in history. But for Star Wars, I just don't understand today. Why do people make a big deal about Star Wars Day? Even though, honestly, I used to be a fan before it was bought out by Disney. Before they ruined my set of 6 DVDs of Blu-rays. Now I'm just speculating how much more of Star Wars do I have to actually buy or wait for to actually get my Star Wars set back on track. Because honestly, Star Wars Day is not a significance in history, and same goes for La La Land. I don't know why people dedicate a day to a certain movie that just makes 200 million. $1 billion? Oh wait, what was it? 200 million? I think that's what the number was. I don't actually know because I didn't pay attention to it and stuff like that. But I think government officials like the mayor want to dedicate a day just because to make money. That's why they make certain holidays in that case. Like, that's why La La Land is a national day, just so our government or our politicians that we voted for make money. That's the only reason. Like, I don't understand it. It's just a movie. It's not that critical. I mean, come on. There are better things in history to talk about, like our freedom, our whatevers, but not about a certain movie. I don't understand it. And just because it made maybe 300 million, you have to make a day out of it. If everybody made a day out of a certain significance in a movie franchise, shouldn't that be dedicated for a day off then? If that was the case for the actual working class? So, I don't understand why that day it was made as a national holiday when normal people like yourselves, excluding me, because I'm disabled, so I don't work except do YouTube videos. It should quantify as a day off for a certain working class, or everybody for that matter. Like, that's what it is. Like, I think, why do they need to make, like, Star Wars? It's not even a day off. People don't get a day off on Star Wars Day. People don't get a day off on Cinco de Mayo either. So I don't understand why only on President's Day or Martin Luther King Day, but I can understand for Martin Luther King Day, but for La La Land, making that a national day in history, I don't understand why that's even a national holiday or a national day to begin with. Because even in history, we don't even get certain days off in school. So I'm like saying to myself, like, why is La La Land a national day, dedicated day for history to that certain movie? I don't understand that. I know it's a great movie, which I haven't seen, but I wouldn't make a day out of it. I mean, not even Star Wars Day you get a day off. So I don't understand the appeal of that day. For Cinco de Mayo, for that day, that's a little different in my opinion. But who's to say I'm right or wrong? Because people have told me I was clearly wrong about the Flash. So I always make mistakes, for that matter, just to that situation. But for me, certain days should not be mentioned if it's not going to require a day off for the actual working class. Like the actual 9 to 5, 9 to 6 working class. That does not mean... If it's not like that, then why make it why even make it a day? I mean, there's no point to making a certain day like that if that's not going to require a day off. But it is what it is. I cannot say anything because somebody might say I'm wrong, and how dare you say that about Star Wars, or something like that. But it's the truth. Why isn't there a day, if you're gonna make a national holiday out of it, or a national day out of it, why isn't it required for the actual working class, the normal working class, to have a day off? You have it on President's Days, you have it on Martin Luther King Day, and stuff like that. But La La Land does not deserve a day because you don't have a day off, for that matter. I mean, come on. It's not like it's that important, even though it made buttloads of money. I don't think it's a day of remembrance because the actual working person does not get a day off. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand that. If it's not even on Cinco de Mayo, people don't get a day off on that day either, so I don't understand that. Like, for Cinco de Mayo, I can understand they should get a day off for that day, for that matter, for Cinco de Mayo, because it's a national day for Mexicans who got their freedom, or what we claim when they got their freedom. So that's how I picture it. But it's still not. But it's, for most people, it's not recognized as a national holiday. I don't understand that. Like, for some, we only recognize it briefly, but not that much. But La La Land deserves a national day in LA? Come on! It's not that important in history. It's not that critical that it deserves that much of a praise. Maybe 30 years from now, maybe it deserves a day. But not right now. It just barely came out for everything else. Maybe 30 years from now, when it's actually going down in history and stuff like that, I would make a rule. If you're gonna make a movie and it makes that much money, wait about 30 years to make it an actual day in history where it actually does count. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just my prerogative. That's just my personal view on it. But I don't understand that. Why is Star Wars a day 2? Like, it's not like you actually get a day off from work for the normal person to actually honor that day as a day off, as a Star Wars day. I mean, they didn't make Star Wars a national day. A million, maybe 300 million Star Wars fans that made it a national day, but it's not actually. You don't actually get a day off from work for actually creating that as a Star Wars day. I mean, come on. That's not logical. If we made everything a national day in history, every day would be a day off. It would have to be, because we've gotten to a point in our history that everybody thinks a certain movie or a certain thing needs to be honored for certain things to have a day to celebrate that day. I don't understand that. If that was the case, every day that we celebrate will eventually, every day that we ever have in history will eventually be a day off. If that was the case. I mean, come on. I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not thinking stupidly. I'm thinking intelligently. If we thought of every day as a national holiday, eventually every day will be honored as a national holiday, because we've gotten used to celebrating that achievement in history. So eventually there will be a point where every day that we celebrate, when it comes to movies and stuff or anything of that nature, will be considered a holiday. I wouldn't want to do that if that was the case. But it is what it is. But for Cinco de Mayo, I can understand why it's important in history. But for La La Land or Star Wars Day, not that much. Not to the level of the significance that it brings. But people might disagree with me, which I don't care. That's just how I see things in this world that need to be addressed, and that's how I see it. I wonder why that Cinco de Mayo isn't commemorated as a day off for practically everybody in the world, or something like that. I don't see why that couldn't deserve a day off. Just because of what it is, just because of what it represents. But that's just me. But who's to say? But for Star Wars Day, I don't understand why that deserves an. It doesn't. Star Wars, I can understand it will outdo La La Land, but in days. But still, I don't understand the significance on why La La Land versus Star Wars is honored as the actual day in history, if that was the case. I think because the mayor in LA liked La La Land so much that he made it a day in history. I mean, come on, that's the only speculation that I can bring. I mean, come on. Star Wars Day doesn't even get that much notification to that movie. I don't understand that. That brings me back to that same subject. I will bring that up again. And even Cinco de Mayo doesn't even get that much love in comparison to certain things. And that was actually Cinco de Mayo, as of tomorrow, is part of our history, but nobody honors that much. I don't understand that. I mean, come on. Eventually, every day, and what I'm trying to get at is every day that will eventually be a holiday, because or somebody's gonna be honored for that day to come into existence. But every day will be to somebody will be a national holiday. I don't understand that. Why is that always the case? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's just how I break it down. And that's just weird to me. Eventually, every day will be a national day of something. I guarantee it. 30 years from now, when I'm 60 years old, because I was born on May 6th, 1986, every day will eventually be a holiday of some sort because of some bad thing happening, so somebody's gonna honor that, well, like, I don't understand why people are like that. I don't know why. I don't think it's necessary to attack people like that, or if any. That's why I don't like guns, I don't like missiles, I don't like any of that. I like swords, but that's about it. If you think about it, if it came down to a gun versus a sword, I would pick the sword every single time, because that sword is honorable. But that's just my prerogative. But and I'll actually put this, when I'm done with this video, somewhere else, for that matter. When I'm actually done with it. Right now it's in gaming, but I'll put it somewhere else in a different category when I'm done. But, like I said, I don't think certain days, if everybody made a certain day into a holiday, what days are left? I mean, I could understand Martin Luther King, our president's days, and everything else, but not like only those president's days and Thanksgiving and all the important stuff like Christmas. But La La Land being a dedicated day in history, not even Star Wars gets that much praise for what it's done for the geek community in history. Not even that. I don't know why, but that's what it is. I mean, me as a geek, we actually made a day for Star Wars. We actually had to make a day for Star Wars. But Mayor Garcetti in LA actually made a day for La La Land. I don't understand that, okay? If every day was dedicated to something, shouldn't that be a national holiday? I mean, come on. There's got to be a limit to what movies are important enough to make the history mark. I mean, I would have waited 30 years before I made La La Land a national holiday or something like that, a national day. But right now, I don't see it. In Star Wars, what? It's been at least 30, more than 30 years. So yeah, I could see that actually being a day since that movie came out, and that's why people celebrate Star Wars Day. But it's not a national holiday. I don't understand that. But that's just my prerogative. But who knows? Maybe down the line everybody will make a day to something. I don't... Like, honestly, eventually this thing right here will have a day dedicated to itself. I mean... I'm just stating like it is. And the first, what? Like the first candy bar ever. Like a thing like this will actually have a day dedicated to itself if it's the last candy bar on Earth. Which, I love Hershey's. I love Reese's Pieces. I love Twix, but you know where I'm getting at. Every day, everything that came into existence will eventually have a day, and somebody will actually make it a national holiday or somebody will try to make it a national holiday. But I don't see the significance of La La Land. It's only been like, 2 years old? And it's got a day to itself? I mean... Couldn't you wait 30 years or something like that? Even Star Wars didn't get that much praise until, 40 years down the line? And Cinco de Mayo actually deserves to be a national holiday. I mean, it actually needs to actually have people take a day off. I mean, I think it should, based on what I read about it. But I'm not the president, not yet anyway. I haven't reached the age requirement to actually run for president yet. So one of these days, eventually, I think if I was running for president, I would actually change certain days to make them actual holidays because they're important in our history and stuff like that. But that's just me. But but I don't know. Well, peace out. I don't know what I actually want to do today. But I basically talked about what I actually wanted to talk about today. But in retrospect, that's what it is. And eventually, every movie that's ever been made, if they stop making movies from then on, will be dedicated in our history books. Which will be kind of strange to see that ever happen. But it will eventually. Somebody will say it deserves the day because it's been about 40 years or 50 years since its conception, since it's been conceived when when that movie came out. Even Pirates of the Caribbean will actually have a day eventually, but not right now. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but it will happen. And if they decide to give people the day off on that day, because it will eventually happen, that's what it's gonna do. So, for me to state what's gonna happen in the world I won't be surprised if it actually does happen, if it does. But that's just me. I'm just speculating. Oh, that reminds me. I'm gonna talk about another video after I'm done with this. But I don't know if I'm gonna be back in 30 minutes or 10 minutes from now. But I'm gonna talk about something important to me when I was younger, and it's still a subject matter that needs to be addressed. But not in this video. I'll talk about it in my next video, maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes from now, but not right now. But I gotta think about what I'm gonna say in my head first. So, I'll see you.
Text to speech unavailable. Text to speech unavailable here.